So ABN Cast has taken the opportunity to pop down the road from our usual offices in North London to East London to the XL Centre, where for a couple of days this week the Travel Technology Show is happening alongside the Business Travel Show. We've come specifically to find out about what's going on in the world of travel technology as related to the airline sector, but also to talk to our friends at Paxport. We're on their stand today, joined by Amy Shine. Amy is the Commercial Relationships Manager at Paxport. Welcome, Amy. Thanks for inviting us onto your stand today. Let's start off by giving us a quick overview of the company. Like I said, we're on your stand. There's two elements you're promoting this week: your Pax to Pay side of the business, but also the Paxport side. So just a quick overview of what you do.
Sure. So Paxport is a comprehensive travel technology platform, and we specialise in flight aggregation, ancillary sales, and streamlining airline distribution, and providing a seamless solution to all kinds of travel sellers. Pax to Pay is a fintech company who specialise in providing virtual credit card payment solutions to the travel sector. We essentially connect airlines and travel sellers to enable them to have or to optimise their efficiencies and maximise their revenues by providing a seamless distribution system.
Yeah. So you're that kind of bridge between the airline supplier on one side, the seller on the other.
Yeah.
And then there's a load of people sitting in the middle. I mean, actually this week it's full of that.
Yeah.
And the idea is everyone's trying to make this connection, this way of working easier and more seamless, but more efficient, I guess.
Essentially. So I guess every airline works in a different way.
Yeah.
And the way that they provide their fares and their information is different to each other, particularly when you talk about low cost and then you talk about NDC carriers and charter.
Yeah.
And what we're doing is normalising that content. So we're making it super simple for anyone that's in the travel sector to consume that content and make it bookable and seamless. And also kind of future-proof, so we're kind of maximising their technology.
So you work with all kinds of airlines, you kind of suggested them, but particularly, I guess, for us it's of interest, the low-cost and the regional sector, because of our low-cost and regional magazine. The low-cost sector is obviously interesting because that has come into its own without the legacy of the traditional carriers. So you've got a particular focus on low cost?
Yeah, so we're absolutely specialised in low cost. I don't think there's any low cost carriers in the UK that we don't work with. They are different to the NDC carrier. They have their own nuances, but we essentially streamline that whole process, so it makes it very easy. Obviously, our biggest announcement this year was that we started working with Ryanair, and we're hopefully bringing those carriers that are not used to the travel industry and not really used to working in that way, and we're bringing those on the journey with us and making that content available to everybody.
Because that's certainly been a feature of the low cost, is that they didn't come into the industry to work with third parties in retail. They were doing it themselves very, very well on their own websites. Ryanair is a great example. We've very quickly, in a matter of months, gone from Ryanair, suing most of what they call the screen scrapers to working with them, and with some particularly notable ones who they never wanted to work with. So that's an interesting recent trend, and obviously you're helping with that. What's going on there? What do you think? Why is that happening now?
Well, that relationship is really positive, and I think it's definitely an education piece on both sides, and kind of, we're kind of discussing on almost a daily basis with Ryanair how they want to talk to the travel industry and how we support them in doing that. And it just, the sales on our side have proven successful, and it's a conversation that we look forward to continuing with them and hopefully some other carriers. I think, as I said earlier, it's about normalising that content and making it accessible in a way that works for everybody, and kind of changing the conversation to make sure that it works on all kinds of businesses. Kind of making sure that we're all on the same team, essentially.
It feels like we're entering an age where, because the technology is getting better, it's more seamless, whatever you want to call it. These words are slightly meaningless, but it really is making it easier, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly
and so it's a win-win on both sides. Exactly. So that means that Ryanair, this world, goes, well, why wouldn't we actually sell through third parties?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And, it works for everybody. It maximises their sales. It gives greater flexibility and opportunities for travel sellers.
Yeah.
It answers their need for customers that want to book the low-cost carriers like Ryanair. It's definitely a positive conversation and one that we look forward to continuing.
Yeah, and for those sellers of travel, it allows them to have great customer service, which sometimes the airlines aren't able to provide. So there is a real win-win there for the customer, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think, particularly, for low cost, I think having direct connections with all of the OTAs and operators can be very time and labour intensive.
Yeah.
And what Paxport do is completely mitigate all of that. So we take all of the pain points away on both sides, to the airline and to the travel seller, and we do all of the hard work to make sure that the distribution is I've said before, seamless but continuous and without problems. So
you mentioned new NDC, which is new distribution capability, which is no longer new. It's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, I did a session yesterday about where we are with NDC. It's almost like the never-ending debate, but it's obviously here and it's not going to go away. That was I mean, when it first arrived, that was meant to be a new standard. It was maybe the new standard for everybody. Now it's not turned out that way.
Yeah.
So it's interesting when you talk about what you're doing is about standardization.
Yeah.
It's interesting that there's still a need to standardize.
There is.
You think this sort of stuff should have been done a long time ago, but actually, whether there's ever going to be a single standard, it seems unlikely. But is this where Paxport comes in to sort of provide that single standard?
Yeah, definitely. So low cost is actually more standard than the kind of full service carrier.
Yeah.
And what we're finding is there's still a need, as you mentioned, to normalise NDC content as well onto our platform. But actually, I think what's really important is the travel seller doesn't need to think about whether it's a low-cost carrier, or whether it's an NDC carrier, or whether it's a charter. They don't need to think about any of that. What Paxport would do is give that functionality and that accessibility to any airline, regardless of what type of carrier they are, and to make it all completely on a level playing field. So, any travel seller, regardless of their size, can have access to whichever airlines they choose to, or whichever airlines they need.
Yeah, because these are complexities that are industry complexities. It's really the travel seller shouldn't have to be bothered about, and particularly the customer. I mean, the customer doesn't care whether it's considered an LCC or an NDC. They just want to fly somewhere for holiday.
Yes, exactly. And I think what's important at Paxport now is that one of our key focuses is post-booking servicing, and that will really become important, so that actually then customers can book and manage their services through Paxport regardless of the carrier, and have access to make those changes in a really effective and dynamic way.
Yeah, because at the moment that's tough to change anything on a booking, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really tough.
You're constantly innovating. I know you're bringing out new products both on the payment side and in the traditional Paxport. So let's talk about a few of those. Air to Pay has been a recent announcement. Explain what that is.
So Air to Pay is a new innovation with Paxport and our sister company Pax2Pay that I mentioned earlier. It's very simple actually. So one of the biggest challenges faced by airlines at the moment is lowering distribution costs, and that does exactly that. So it mitigates the need for costly virtual credit card fees, and it just provides an alternative to that. So it's just a really super simple solution which facilitates a bank transfer payment solution.
Okay, so it's more the bank-to-bank thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's interesting because virtual credit cards, I remember them sort of first being talked about a long time ago. The selling point then was that you could avoid some costs.
Yeah.
It's come sort of full circle. Now everyone's got onto them. There's costs associated.
Yeah. There definitely are. And obviously, a virtual credit card payment has some benefits to the travel seller. They obviously get kickbacks and incentives for using those cards, and they come with an insurance. So it's something that airlines will need to consider in using a bank transfer solution. But it's a conversation that we've started. We've got a number of interested airlines already, and this year is all about kind of educating that the innovation is there, that the tool is there to be used, and then it's up to the airline then to talk to the travel seller directly to see if it's something they want to take advantage of.
If I'm an airline and I want the travel seller to use an Air to Pay route to payment, what do I have to do as the airline? Is it just
so it's something we can guide on?
Integration to be done.
Yes, Well, no, actually. So the Pax2Pay solution, the Air to Pay solution, is available through our existing platform. Very, very minor changes in terms of process. So in terms of kind of setting up, there really aren't any. It's more about discussing with us at Paxport and then with the travel seller directly how to balance out what they've lost in terms of insurance and incentives. But that's an easy conversation to have because there's quite a large saving in terms of credit card fee costs, and it allows for, there's money available to incentivise separately. So it's something that is quite an easy conversation, but if you want to know more, then certainly reach out to us.
Okay. So the other recent development or announcement was a certified partner program. Explain what that is and why did you launch that?
Yeah, so that was specifically aimed at our travel technology partners, so the partners that we work with to distribute our content to the travel seller. And it's really It was just an idea to bring them closer to Paxport so that we can talk to them easier, but also to incentivise them to bring them on our journey of our developing capabilities and the airline's capabilities. For the airline, it means that we can provide better insights in terms of data. It means that the customer's going to have access, the end customer's going to have access to their capabilities, like easy things like seat mapping and that kind of thing.
Okay.
But it's also then making sure that the travel technology partner is incentivised and has a commercial kickback almost for coming on the journey with us.
Yeah. Okay. So that sort of thing is going to encourage some innovation, I guess, with small companies that've got a single solution.
Yeah.
But themselves getting it into the travel industry or the airline industry is going to be really tough.
Yeah.
So you can sort of facilitate that.
Yes, exactly. And it's just, I think it was more an exercise as well to make our travel technology partners aware of the capabilities that are available to them with fairly little, changes to their system. So it was it was just a way of doing that and highlighting what's available to them through Paxport.
Do you see a lot of these companies bubbling up, sort of coming up with new ideas that are quite sort of fairly niche, but very important?
Yeah, absolutely. I think technology is fast paced and it's forever moving. And I think if you're not doing that, if you're not innovating, you'll get left behind. So they are. Yeah, a lot of partners come out, particularly the buzzword that I think everybody here talks about is AI, and I think is about harnessing that and how we utilise it in a meaningful way.
You've also got a partnership going with I can't really pronounce it. Accelerate, which I can see what they've done there. So who are they? What do they do? And why is that partnership?
So they are a allotment and pooling solution, and it is basically answering the need for airlines to be able to talk to travel sellers in a different way. And it basically means that the airlines can distribute their content via Paxport to offer allotment and pooling via one API. So it means that there's no need to reconnect. It would just be a conversation with us, with the travel seller and with the airline to discuss their commercial needs, and then we essentially give them access via our existing API.
So just explain allotment and pooling is two words that maybe people don't.
Yeah, so an allotment is a dedicated number of seats available to a specific travel seller at a specific fare.
Yeah.
So it could be that you say that an OTA can have 50 seats to sell on a specific date, and they can do that at a held and preferred fare.
Okay. So I might be a tour operator. I know a group. I'm trying to sell a group into a tour in Italy. I'm going to need some seats, but I haven't sold yet, so I block those off.
Yes, exactly. And then pooling is similar, but it's basically an allotment or a group that's available to a number of OTAs and travel sellers that they can dip into and dip out of. But it's basically opaque pricing that isn't available on the wider market.
Yeah. So you're seeing more of that with OTAs, because traditionally OTAs will just go into the market and buy the seat at that rate. But OTA, I know OTAs don't want to take risk on this. That's their model, but they want the best of both worlds, I guess, and this maybe provides that.
Yeah, I think the pooling solution. It definitely does. I think it's something that is fairly new to the UK market, but is proven in kind of the European markets, and so I think it does stand to be quite successful over here. I think there's probably a lot of OTAs and tour operators that are already doing it, but I think that the uniqueness with Paxport is that it will come through one consistent API, and so the accessibility is a lot more seamless and streamlined.
Okay. Whenever these shows happen, you always keep some announcements back. Something new's happening, that's where we come. So I know you've got a new working with Etihad on NDC.
Yeah, so we're just launching that, and that went live last week. So we've just gone live with NDC content for Etihad. Yeah. The same with Eastern.
And for that is going to provide a bit more bespoke. Some of those fares that you can't get through old Edifact, it's more
ITX fares,
flexible.
Exactly that. And then the same with Eastern. So Eastern is a regional carrier that we've just gone live with as well. Okay. And then Air Ticket, we just launched our partnership with them as well. They are the Europe's largest consolidator. So it's really just expanding our content outside of our existing direct relationships and really just enhancing our platform to fill some gaps.
Okay, so that you're patching into wider geographical areas with Air Ticket, really, in Europe. So
worldwide, actually, globally.
So okay, that's a good catch up on what Paxport is and what you're doing. What are you've been here a couple of days now and been chatting to various airlines come by and other partners. What are you seeing as the big challenges at the moment for this sector, and how are you looking to solve those for them?
There's obviously lower distribution costs that we've kind of already talked about with Air to Pay. So I think that's one of the most significant ones. I think there's obviously the need to simplify um, and streamline technologies to make them more accessible for everybody and make them work for everybody. Again, that's something we talk about is our core messaging really, that we are normalising what we do, and is always going to be important. And then I guess on the customer side of things, we need to make sure that the technologies that we're bringing out are customer centric and they're focused on making sure that the journey is easy from start to finish. And I guess that's where our post booking servicing comes in. So I guess three big challenges that we've kind of answered this year, and we'll just continue to evolve on.
Yeah, it feels like there's plenty of customer demand out there. I mean, there's pockets and there's things. This industry is buffeted by geopolitical things all the time. So maybe the US is having a bit of a time of it at the moment. But until that thing, all the tariffs get sorted out, we'll see how that pans out. But really, overall, generally, I get the sense that demand for flying has never been higher, and actually the industry is struggling to cope with demand and supply match demand, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've had a really strong year. It's been really positive.
Yeah.
I think everybody's in the same position where peaks weren't so pronounced as they once were. I know certainly back in when I joined the industry a long time ago, peaks were definitely January and half of February.
Yeah.
Now they seem to be a little bit more stable and a little bit more spread out. But for us, it's been a really positive year.
Yeah.
I think the conversations with airlines and our travel seller partners is we're becoming a lot closer with them. We want to work a lot closer with all of our partners to make sure that the kind of innovation we're coming out with is relevant. But yeah, it's definitely a positive year so far.
Yeah, there's certainly a pressure on, especially the low-cost guys, to raise pricing because if demand and supply are out of kilter, that's the natural thing for any market to do. But of course, they are LCCs for a reason. They want to keep prices low.
Yeah.
They want to keep load factors high as well because we don't want to go back to an era when it's only sort of 80% full because we have to be sustainable and all that. So the pressure's on there. The only way they can do that, I guess, if the whole system works more efficiently and effectively, they can then pass that saving on to the customer and help keep prices at a reasonable level.
Yeah, definitely. But I think one of the benefits of low cost is that you can go out with a very reasonable base fare, and then you can add on your ancillaries and your seats and your bags and things at a later date. And I think that's something that Paxport is really good at.
Yeah.
And I think we can certainly boast that our attachment rates are really high, and we definitely feed into that. We lean into that with a lot of the innovation that we come out with to make sure that we continue on that path. So
obviously there's the attachment of products very much related to the seat, so bags and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And we know what's happened there with the debundling and now rebundling. But a lot of airlines, and we see them, I think you had Jet2 come by a moment ago, they're actually tour operators as much as they are airlines now. We see it with these Jet Holidays, BA Holidays, and everybody really is trying to become more of a kind of full service, not just the seats, beyond the seat. That's definitely a trend we're seeing, and obviously it's something that Paxport itself must be picking up on and enabling as well.
Yes, definitely, and I think that just comes back to that word that I've used a few times about normalising. I think low-cost carriers work in a very different way to NTC, but we want to be able to support their business model and support the kind of way that they want to promote their fares and the way that different tour operators want to consume them. We have some tour operators that want to absolutely have the cheapest fare and then encourage their customers to add on bags and seats at a later date. And we have some that see the benefit in bundling and kind of customers want to get the bags and the seats included from the outset, those that are perhaps more family orientated. So we definitely have all of our technology is created to make sure that we can service our airlines in whichever way they want to build their fares.
Yeah. Final thought on where we are on the technology side. It's always developing and always will. We've got AI coming along, and who knows how agentic AI changes things.
Yeah.
I just think we'll be booking flights in a totally different way, and you guys are going to have to sort of react to that when it happens. But in terms of the maturity of the technology in this area, do you think it's at a point now where there really is no excuse? The tech is there. There's no need to develop new technologies. There's lots of suppliers. Maybe the difficulty is there's too many suppliers and it's difficult to choose who to work with.
Yeah.
But there really is no excuse to say, well, we can't do anything that we want to do. If we've got a vision to do something, you can now do it. So the question is, why not and when?
I do agree with that. I think there's a lot of companies that have legacy systems that don't perhaps work with evolving technologies in the way that they should.
Yeah.
But I think I was at a talk yesterday, and it kind of they were very much focused on the fact that those partners that lean into experimenting and kind of lean into adopting new technologies, the new way of thinking, will be the winners in the long run. And I think that's definitely something to take away.
Yeah.
At Paxport, we are continually investing in research and development, and also speaking to our customers to make sure that what we're developing is absolutely relevant to what they want to achieve.
Yeah.
I think it's fundamental, and I think technology will never stay the same. I think it's always developing, and I think it's really key that people know that, and when they are looking to build platforms, and when they're looking to kind of work with somebody like us, they're working with people that actually understand that it ever changes and that they are open to change.
Yeah, it's kind of future proofing, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Lots of examples going back in travel and aviation in general where the latest things come along, you've gone hell for leather on that, and then you find yourself in a blind alley and can't get out again.
Exactly.
So can you do something where we're always able to adapt? And is that the philosophy of web Paxport? Because obviously if you don't do that, you'll find yourself become legacy very quickly.
Absolutely. We build systems that are robust, but they are evolvable, and I think that, and we want to be at the forefront of making sure that we are leading the travel industry in the distribution area, and we are confident that we are doing that. We have a team in place now that are travel people. We've all been in the travel people for a long time, whether that's on the airline side, the technology side, the tour operator side. So we kind of know what what our travel sellers and airlines are looking for. And we're continually having conversations with them to make sure that we're still up to speed on that, and developing our platforms to make sure they can grow with them.
Actually, you mentioned people and talent and know-how. Still, people are important. You need to be attracting the right people into businesses like Paxport.
Yeah.
I think you've got a base in the UK.
Yes.
Where else are you based?
Sweden as well.
Sweden.
Yeah.
So are you finding you're able to attract the right talent in those places that you need to develop?
Yeah. So we, we're from all over. The team that's based in Bristol are from all over, and but I think what's absolutely key is that none of us are sales people. None of us are sales people. We all come from a background of wanting to help and support travel sellers and airlines in achieving their goals. And I think that's what I found, certainly being at Paxport, is actually loud and clear, is that we're here to offer advice, we're here to be supportive and build a relationship with our customers, regardless of which customers we're talking about. And I think we are actually passionate about delivering a really good service, and I think that's what Paxport is all about, definitely.
Look, thank you, Amy. Our time is up, but it's been really nice talking to you on stand today. We look forward to seeing what developments happen and a future of seamless travel, the nirvana that everyone's talking about.
Yeah, good. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.